Welcome to Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. I'm your host, Nancy O'Neill. Each week I speak with local professionals on a wide range of topics, from fitness to finances and from dance to dentistry. We are here to give you tips and advice on how you can live a happy and healthier life no matter what age you may be. There are so many therapies, aids, medication you can try to help slow down the aging process. But have you thought about dance? Tiana Ramirez and Tim Penninga with Fred Astaire Dance Studio joins us now to explain how something as simple as dancing can help us age gracefully. Tiana, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Tim, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome back. So, dancing, it can help you age or slow down the aging process.
100%.
How does it do that? Can it actually help our wits, keep us smarter, keep us engaged?
That's a great question, and one that's very near and dear to our hearts, being involved in the dance industry for as long as we have. And for centuries there have been books and journals written about the benefits of dance physically. As everyone knows, it's a great exercise, it's a lot of fun. But what a lot of recent studies are starting to show is the effects it has on the mind. And it's shown to decrease stress levels, which we all need, increase serotonin levels, which is what makes us happy, and more importantly, to answer your question, it raises mental acuity, which is our consciousness, it's our reasoning, our understanding, our memory, and our focus. It's what doctors refer to when they speak of dementia and Alzheimer's. What goes away is mental acuity, and dancing has been shown to raise mental acuity across all ages. So it's truly amazing.
It's amazing. Now, we had a gentleman on that did some dancing with Tiana.
Mr. John Lewis, yeah.
Yeah, and he looked fabulous, and I know he's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
He actually goes to Johns Hopkins twice a year to be a dementia study patient. So,
and it's helped him.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
And it does, because you've got so many things to think about when you're dancing.
Right.
Right? It's not just moving your feet. It's how do you move your feet? What do you have to think about it first, right? Okay. Why do you think, I mean, there's, it's obvious, but why do you think dancing is a better activity all around for everybody?
Well, there's actually been studies. One was done by the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York, and they took senior citizens 75 years and older, and they gave them various activities, bicycling, swimming, dance. They did crossword puzzles 4 times a week, and reading. And what they wanted to see is if this had any effect on slowing down or stopping the onset of dementia and Alzheimer's. And what was fascinating is, out of all the physical ones, the swimming, biking, dancing, and golf actually, dancing was the only one that had any effect on a percentage of the patients. And reading had a 31% success rate. The crossword puzzles had a 47% success rate, and dancing actually had a 76% success rate in slowing down and stopping the
That's amazing.
Dementia, Alzheimer's. Yeah, it truly is a staggering number.
It is. Well, it is when you think about it. It's something fun. It's enjoyable. It's engaging. You're with other people, and that's something that we're going to talk about, Tiana, now, right? I mean, there's other things that you do at the studio. I mean, it's all about dancing. But what other activities do you have at your studio?
Well, it's interesting because when we were talking about this subject and getting ready for it, we were just. This is something that we get to experience every day at the studio, which is great that we get to witness it every day. But we actually, around this time last year, had the opportunity to partner with a memory care residence right here in Sarasota. It's called Astaire now. It used to be called Autumns. So we go there 3 times a week, and we teach them ballroom dancing.
Oh, how wonderful.
I actually got to go the first maybe 4 times. And in the very beginning, it was, nobody knew who they were. They didn't know where they were, didn't really want to be there to dance. But as soon as we put the music on, people started coming alive and started saying, well, I used to play the piano and I used to teach music, and it was like, okay, great, well, count us in, so all of a sudden the memory started being triggered, if that's what you want to say, just through music and movement. And the very interesting thing is the gentleman who runs it actually is a student at the school, so he wanted his residents to experience it. But being able to watch even the workers that are there, or every day with them, like blown away. They were just like, no, this can't be true.
These people are getting out of their wheelchairs and doing conga lines, so it's truly amazing.
Yeah, and they're like looking forward to our sessions. They're like running to get there, and it's packed every week. It's somebody. It gets bigger.
And how rewarding it is for you to see that. I mean, that's just amazing. That's just amazing. So I'm sure that there's going to be other facilities looking for you to come visit
We
them.
definitely hope so.
Yeah, it would be great. And like I said, he happened to come to one of our shows, and he really wanted somehow to incorporate the residents into the show for next year, for this year actually. Not able to do that, but we've been there now for a whole year, and we don't plan on leaving. As long as they would like to keep us there, we're in their newsletter, the families know about it, and again, it's awesome to watch them completely relive some of their younger years through dancing.
Yeah, and that's what happens, and it's so wonderful that something as beautiful as dance can do that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they like to see you dancing as well.
And we do shows there for
Right?
them. Yeah.
Great, good. Well, thank you again for being
thank
here.
you.
Always a pleasure, and best of luck with your new edition coming soon.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right after the break, Dr. Jenny Wilkins is back with us, and she has more tips on how to lead a healthier and happier life. The common wisdom is that if you are overweight, you are unhealthy, and if you're thin, you're healthy. Well, new research points to just how dangerous being skinny can be. If you are a skinny, fat person, that is. Here to discuss how to become a healthy, skinny person is Dr. Jenny Wilkins, owner of ageVital Pharmacy. Another interesting topic we're going to cover today.
And I crack people up with that term, Nancy.
I know. Did you come up with that term?
I did. I coined it. I have to trademark that one.
Yes, you do.
Because all my customers come in, and I'm like, "You're a skinny fat person," and then they're shocked. What, did you just call me fat?
What does that mean? Right, I've worked all my life to be skinny,
Right, right. But they watch everything that they eat, and they're thinking because they starve themselves that makes them healthy because their scale says one number. And women especially, we're mental. If that scale says a number, even though you look thin and fit, but if that scale is not where you're mentally wanting it to be, we freak out.
I know.
Right? But we can't be like that. We're too hard. It's called, the skinny fat is actually metabolically obese. What does it mean to be metabolically obese?
Right.
You're as healthy as the quality of your arteries, right?
Is that the BMI when you go to the doctors?
Yeah, BMI, that's what basal metabolic rate, and then you have your BMR, that's another, metabolism analysis as well.
Okay.
But what it means to be metabolically obese, it means your arteries are clogged. You're starting to store this visceral toxic poisons.
And
So it
this
could be
can happen
fat.
when you're young.
It can happen when you're young. And look at our foods, Nancy. Look at everything that is being fed to us with this fast food. We're in a go society. And everybody's all about, quick and accessible. And you have the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the Taco Bells. And that adds up. And people eat like that on a daily basis.
But even the people that don't, like you said, the people that are thin probably don't eat so much.
Or they're not eating enough.
Or they're not eating enough.
Right. And then when they do binge eat or they have that one meal, the body stores it as fat because it goes into starvation mode. It thinks that you're starving yourself. It does that with water.
So
not drinking enough water,
is this what the
get
term
water
is?
retention. Yes.
Is this what the term
That's
is? That's
exactly what that is.
So your body, you shouldn't eat everything all at once because your body then stores it as fat?
Yes, and you don't want it to store.
Okay.
You don't want to have these rainy day reserves because your body's thinking that you're starving yourself or you're not hydrating yourself enough. So you have to make sure that you're eating, number one, every 2 hours. When you're eating, you want to make sure that you stay on top of your glucose. And what I mean by that is making sure that your sugar never drops. You never want to feel hungry. When you're feeling hungry, that's a bad sign. You never want to eat, after you feel hungry, because then you're storing it as fat. You want to eat and stay satiated throughout the whole entire day.
And you don't have to eat a lot.
You don't have to eat a lot.
Does it have to be sugars, though, or can it be a protein or a combination of fat and protein?
Yep, I tell people either pick a carbohydrate meal or pick a protein meal. And what I mean by that is, for breakfast, for example, I had a waffle and yogurt this morning, and I put fruit on my waffle, but I didn't have any protein with it. When you combine the two, you have two different digestive processes going. Your large intestine, your small intestine's competing for absorption, and then it takes longer for your body to metabolize it out. It takes over 24 hours, and that's what gives you that heavy bloated feeling, or the GERD, or the acid reflux, or you just feel like, oh my gosh, what did I do? You get that Buddha belly.
Yeah.
You don't want that Buddha belly. So either pick your carbohydrate dish with no animal protein, or have your eggs with sausage and yogurt and fruit for breakfast. That's a healthy meal.
No carb.
Yeah, no carb with it, no toast. Americans combine the pancakes with the sausage and the eggs, and everything's together. Your body's not meant to design that.
What about your
like that.
snacks? You said eat every 2 hours.
Yep.
Do you suggest a sugar or a protein, or does it
Usually
matter?
a fruit, a handful of nuts,
Okay.
or some hummus with like some pita bread. I always have like, you
So
know, 2
healthy
nectarines.
fats?
Yeah,
Or
healthy fats.
okay.
Yep, so you pick one or the other. Or even if it's like gluten-free pretzels, for example, at least you satiated yourself, but you're only focused on that, you know, a handful of pretzels.
Right.
So you're snacking so that sugar doesn't drop. You don't get hangry. That's another term I use,
Yes.
where you're hungry and angry.
Yes.
I get like that if I don't eat.
I
If
do
it's
too.
2 hours,
Oh my gosh.
"Rah!" It's like, give me some food and nobody gets hurt.
So the skinny fat person, that's where what you eat, you are what you eat.
You are what you eat. It's not true. Yep, you are
comes
what
in.
you're absorbing.
Okay,
They're not
so
absorbing anything.
They're not absorbing
Yep.
anything.
And
so
then when
how do you change this? How do you prevent that from happening?
Lifestyle dietary changes. So as we just discussed,
And that's
then
huge for people, though.
Yeah.
So if you want to do that, I mean, I think we all want to be healthy. How do you begin to do that without changing your whole life around and your whole family schedule
So
around?
you start really small.
Okay.
You know, if you're combining your proteins and your carbohydrates, I tell people, come into my store and get my enzymes. You know, at least those enzymes are in there working for you, and it's helping push through and metabolize all of those fats and the proteins and the sugars, because that's really what
So
enzymes do.
enzymes. So what do we have
but
here?
This is for weight loss, for skinny fat people. You know, how do you lose weight the healthy way? I love the Garcinia cambogia, because that suppresses your hunger and it regulates your sugar. It acts very much like tryptophan. That's really what Garcinia, it's a mango extract, and mango is a power fruit.
great.
It's so beneficial for you. Amino acids helps you to build more muscle, and more muscle equals weight loss, right? So you're losing the bad fat and not compromising muscle growth. And then I have my aroma dim. This is if someone's gaining weight because they induced a hormonal issue, because they're one of those skinny fat people that's not eating, they're messing with their endocrine system. So this is an estrogen blocker. Too much estrogen, especially for women, equals unwanted fat. And there are markers in the body when you can tell when someone's a skinny fat person. You see this double chin. You ever see that skinny person with a pooch right here underneath the chin? And I'm always with my husband at restaurants, like, she'll be overweight in 5 years. Or I know, he's like, Jenny, stop. I was like, but it's true. It's like, I want to help her right now. She's a walking time bomb.
Oh my gosh.
And then the adrenal pro, when someone's stressed out. And then when someone's under stress, they either overeat or they undereat. I know when I'm stressed, I don't want to eat. And then you lose weight from that. And then some people, they'll comfort food. They're stressed out, they eat their entire kitchen. They eat their entire house, and that's not healthy.
Okay. So again, where can we find you?
ageVital Pharmacy is at 1618 Main Street in Sarasota, Florida. We're a national pharmacy, so they don't necessarily have to come into our store.
Okay.
They can give us a call.
All right.
Or look us up in the web.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you,
Thank you
Nancy.
again, Doctor. Star Financial's Esther Holt is back with us, and we'll be back after the break. Esther Holt with Star Financial Solutions is back with us today, and we're talking about annuities. Annuities, so there is more than one, but first let's ask in general, what is an annuity?
An annuity is an insurance contract, and this is where the insurance company promises that they are going to pay you a certain amount, either for life or for a certain period of time.
Okay, for life for a certain period of time. So why would somebody get an annuity?
Because they want guaranteed income at some point. They either want the guaranteed income now or later. And there's 4 different ways to do this with an annuity.
All right.
There is what we call a variable annuity, a fixed annuity, a fixed indexed annuity, and an immediate annuity. And they all work different, and they're all used hopefully for different purposes. It's not one size fits all.
Okay, what are the differences? Because obviously, if not one size fits all, different people?
Correct.
Different situations?
Different situations.
Okay.
So the first one is a variable annuity. And that's the one that you see, I think, most of the time. So that's an investment product. And it's wrapped up in an insurance product. So you put money in and it's invested most of the time in mutual funds. And the mutual funds within the annuity might have stocks and bonds and other types of investments.
I get it now, okay.
And that, because it's invested, the value could go down and it could go up. But the insurance product, the annuity part, has certain guarantees on it. And so that's the variable. Then you have the fixed annuity, which you put your money in and they say, I'm going to pay you X amount for X amount of years. So let's say 4% for 5 years or whatever, and that's what you get, almost like a CD.
Okay.
Then you have a fixed indexed annuity, and you also see these a lot. So the fixed indexed annuity is tied to one or more indexes in the stock market. But it doesn't necessarily go up and down with the stock market. So how they work, normally you can't lose money, although now there's a few that are coming out where you can, and so you got to be careful. But most of the time, depending on whichever index it's tied to does in a year or in a certain period of time, you will be given that interest of whatever the index is made. If the market goes down or that index goes down, you just don't get credited anything that year. If it goes up, you get credited whatever the difference is. And then it starts all over again for the next year. And that's also for a certain period of time. And there's a limit to how much they're going to credit you. So you may have a 5% ceiling or a 4% ceiling, which means if the index goes up more than that, you're limited. You're only going to get what the ceiling is. Okay? But if it goes down, you don't lose anything. And then you have an immediate annuity. The immediate annuity says, I'm putting this much money in, and they're going to pay you a certain amount for your lifetime from that money, or for a certain period of time, whichever you decide in the beginning.
Okay. All right. Now, why are annuities getting such bad press?
There is high costs in annuities because not only are you paying for the mutual funds, but you're also paying for the insurance. So there's higher costs. There are the way some of these are sold. They are a long-term investment, not a short-term investment. They're not, I wouldn't consider any of this a liquid investment because you have high fees to come out sometimes for a certain period of time. So you need to be very, very careful about that.
Okay. And what are the main concerns? What should people think about or learn when they're choosing an annuity?
You really need to understand what you're getting. You don't want to have all your money in any annuity because it's not a liquid investment. Yeah, you can get out of it if you want, but there's going to be a penalty. So you really need to be careful that you're only putting in what you can afford not to have liquid. Also, because chances are you're doing this to get income, make sure that the income that you can expect to receive makes sense based on, how much you're locking up, and also what the what you're going to, not have access to, and the fees you're going to pay.
So people should be mindful of that. Come see you and discuss, of course.
Come see me, come see, a reputable financial advisor that's registered, that I always think it's better to go to somebody that has the licenses and registrations to do everything.
Which you do.
Which I do. Okay. Some of these products, you can't do all of them depending on what types of licenses you have. So only certain people can.
And you can.
And I can.
And you can. Good. All right. Now, I know you have to read a disclosure before we close today.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And before you do that, I want to wish you a belated happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, it's all yours.
Well, it's uncommon that the insurance companies that issue annuities are unable to meet their obligations. It can happen. Be sure you understand all of the terms and conditions, like surrender charges and cancellation penalties, as we discussed.
Okay, Great. We'll see you again next week.
See you next
Thank
week.
you for making us smarter.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us on Aging Gracefully on Suncoast FYI. To find more tips from local experts, you can view previous episodes and complete seasons at snntv.com under Programming. We'll be back next Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. with more tips on how you can live a happier and healthy life. Until then, have a wonderful week.